there all the time. I want to see 1,000 people showing up. I want to see 10,000 people showing up. I want to see when they hold these hearings, when they hold these meetings, the things that I've been going to alone for the last 10 years. I don't want to be alone anymore. I want to see 1,000, 10,000 people showing up. I want it to be like, you know, Life magazine. I'm not old enough to have lived through it, but Life magazine, when I flip through Life magazine and I see the civil rights movement and I see those streets packed with people standing out there going, we've had enough. We've had enough. And we're here to tell you things are going to change. And what do you do when you look out and you see 1,000 people? You can arrest them all? You can't. What are you going to charge them with? Standing there looking you in the eye and saying, you're our government, please do our bidding? So that's where we need to be. We need to be there yesterday. And I'm glad we're getting there today. And we definitely need to be there tomorrow. All right, on that note, let's go forth. And I'm going to use a great Japanese word here, gambate. Anybody know that word? It's a great one. It means go forth and conquer. So I look forward to seeing you all in San Marcos. We're going to open up question and answers here shortly with all of these wonderful activists assembled in one place. But let me tell you, I hope to see you all there tomorrow. Gambate. Let's kick butt.
She's got good practice. You know, this whole thing is just so wonderful that again, I'd like to repeat that everyone has assembled together and has a common effort. There's many causes out here, but I think that ID and chipping is an easy one to win. And maybe the word easy is not good. Maybe I should use a different term. But basically, it's the kind of thing we can all get behind. You can talk to your neighbor, and they're not going to say, they're not going to do that. Well, here it is right here in the card. Look at it. Or next time you go to the supermarket, look there. Or when you go to DPS, ask them. By the way, I think there's a lot of people that are getting away from even carrying a driver's license because unless you're in commercial traffic, I understand you don't have to have one. But, that's a different topic for another day. But and please don't tell the trooper that stopped me down and anything different, you know. But also like to say a thank you to George Butler and Deborah Stevens for doing the live broadcast. And I haven't seen Deborah here, but and Rule of Law Radio, and of course Brave New Books again, Harlan. Q&A, one thing I'd like to announce is that the wireless mic has to be limited to here because of the delay that's there in the other room. So we don't want the wireless to go there, otherwise people will get confused. So anybody from the other room that has a question, you'll have to come up to where Harlan is there, and he's got the mic right there. And so start thinking of who you want to address the question to, and get that to them. Also, a thank you to Katherine Allen for sponsoring the airline ticket. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her, but it's really great. We need people with real commitment. Whether you can give a little bit or you can give time, most of us patriots are poor. But I think that comes from the heart easier than coming from the pocketbook. But it's good to have people that do both, because I know some of them. And whenever you've got that you can share it with a cause that takes care of your freedom and their freedom and everybody's freedom, our children, our grandchildren's freedom, then it's right. And I think it's right by God. I'd like to also announce that Patrick Tamponi has a radio program, and Catherine is going to be there Thursday on the 5th. And is there any other announcements that... okay, great.
KLBJ is having me on at 8:10 tomorrow morning. It's extremely, like, my phone's been ringing off the hook because in the last week we have the San Marcos event going on against dog chipping. I'm getting phone calls from national radio hosts like Ron Reagan and I can't remember it, Janet Parshall, a whole ton of people calling me about this story that was in WorldNet Daily about the enhanced driver's licenses. So we're getting the word out about that. Coast to Coast AM, of course, I did a 2-hour appearance the other night, listened to by 12 million people on the national electricity grid that's coming in. Getting lots of calls on that. So we are. And. Oh, absolutely. So you were among the 12 million, yes. So the numbers, I think, are starting to grow. And I did this the other day on my radio show. I said, I want you to know you're not alone. Because sometimes it can be really frustrating because we're surrounded by people who just don't get it. All of us are. You know, you walk down the street, you try to talk to somebody. Jim, I think it was talking to people, trying to hand out flyers about the dogs. And people were, I'm proud of having microchipped my dog. I think it's a good thing. And so you can kind of feel like a little bit alone if you let yourself. And I just want you to look around at this crowd. And I want you to realize that we're not alone. These are just the people who were able to take time off from kids and family. These are just the people who were able to find parking. These are just the people who were among probably the 5% of people who wanted to be here who actually were fortunate enough to be able to do it. So I want you to multiply this crowd by about 20 of people who specifically probably wanted to be here tonight. And then if you multiply that among people who just didn't hear about it and would have wanted to be here, multiply it by a couple hundred. So we're not alone. There's a huge number of people out there. All right, as long as we're giving thanks, I want to say thank you to Harlan for bringing us all together. For having a bookstore. Thank you, Harlan. Otherwise, we're stuck with Amazon, babies, and that's not going to look so good because they track everything you buy. So thank you. And I also want to give a very special word of thanks to Lisa Wilson. Lisa could come up for just a moment. Lisa has spent countless hours, literally countless hours in the last couple of weeks, putting all of this together, buying things, coordinating, making phone calls, staying up all night. She has done an incredible amount of work to get me out here to Austin. I just want to say a special thank you. I think what we should do is probably pull all the ladies up here into the light, and I'll see if I can readjust our microphone down to where we can sort of all speak into it, and then we'll let you guys go ahead and open up for questions. The other thing, because I've done this before on the book signing, all right, so when we're all done with Q&A, I'm going to be signing books. I'll stay here till dawn if I need to get them all signed. So I'm not going anywhere. Harlan, are you going somewhere at 9? Or?
I'll be here till dawn with you.
So we're all here till as long as it takes. I'm going to caution you that there probably are not enough books for everybody to get a book, and there's probably not enough of stuff. So Harlan ordered a couple cases of books. I brought some stuff from New Hampshire, but we probably don't have enough to go around. So what I'd ask you is restrict yourself to purchasing one book, at least to start. And if you brought your own books, I'm happy to sign them. I don't know, Harlan, you ordered how many books?
I had 65 books.
65. So that may actually, yeah, I think if everybody gets one book, I probably brought like 20 maybe.
Right.
Hardbacks, and then I also brought a special treat, which is the Spy Chips Threat, which is the Christian version of my book, which you cannot obtain. You can't order it off of Amazon. You can't really get it anywhere. I have like one shelf of them, and I brought like half of my shelf full, and that's pretty much all there is. I think it's out of print. And that's through a whole complicated set of contractual reasons that we're not allowed to reprint that. So I will have some very special copies of the spreadsheets that are available too. But again, I'd ask you to limit yourself to one book. And probably the way to do it, Harlan, and correct me if I'm out of line here, but it might make sense to have people sort of, as we're doing